Merry Christmas and welcome to London Real. My name is Brian Rose. With me, as usual, is Mr. Nick Gabriel. And joining us in studio today is Mr. Arthur Rutledge. Arthur, welcome.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Cool, man. Good to have you here. First, I want to, of course, say thanks to our sponsors at On It Labs. They are the makers of Alpha Brain, and Arthur's just taken some, and you can tell. It's a nootropic which helps the synapses fire a little bit better, and they've also now introduced something called New Mood, which is an L-tryptophan. What is an L-tryptophan? Something or other that kind of gets this calming kind of new mood thing.
Never tried that one yet.
Yeah, we'll have to get you some of that stuff. So if you go to onit.com and use the code name London Real, you'll get 10% off any of your Alpha Brain purchases or New Mood. And it's all good. It's very good stuff. So with no further ado, who's this guy in my house, Nick?
It's hard for me to answer that question because I don't actually know this guy. You're the first guest.
I was just walking down the street and somebody said, hey, come in.
So Brian and I had a rule when we started London Real, which was that we'd both have to have met the guest.
Yeah.
And then that was kind of impractical. So then we changed it to at least one of us had to have met them.
Yeah.
And now we're at the point we're trying something new, and neither of us know you, Arthur. So
spontaneity is the key, right?
No, it is good.
Exploring where you want to be.
I think we found it better with Nick and I when we hadn't met the guest, because then you actually have those new conversations that we would have had in a coffee shop and would have never recorded. So it was like, whoa, who's this guy?
Wow.
And no one's tried to, hijack the show.
So man, I might as well hit him with one of the bomb drop questions.
The Nick Gabriel questions. Do it.
Man, what's the most important lesson you've learned in life?
Live life to the fullest. Don't stop. Don't limit yourself with what people are telling you that you should be. You should just be the person that you are. Really great book that I read a few months ago called The Tipping Point. It gave me a clear indication of three archetype individuals that make the world go round, and I identified myself as the connector.
The connector, yeah.
In that particular situation, and it's eye opening.
Mm-hmm.
You can't not know exactly where you stand in life, because you could just tumble your way through it, and you can't without anyone stopping you.
Mm-hmm. Have you read the book?
No, I've heard of it.
It's quite cool.
What are the other archetypes? So you're a connector.
They have the salesman or the salesperson, and then the maven, who usually is identified in it as knowing, like having not useless information, but information that's pertinent to whoever knows that person, and they can utilize it in a way like knowing what cafe is in Budapest, or because they've been there, or that's really good, or the restaurant that's great, and I have a bit of that as well, just because of my travels and the way that I take in information, locations in my own unique way. But these people are usually the information center. And that's how they're identified.
That's a maven. And you're a connector.
They're a connector.
So what does a connector do?
It's more or less beats the 6 degree, the idea of the 6 degrees of separation.
Okay.
That person can reach out to someone in London, like I'm here with you guys right now, by way of my friend Tom, and that's how we met. To if I know someone who wants to have buy a new car, or plan a destination, or and they don't know anybody in that area, I can connect them to that, rather than them just going on Facebook. Well, obviously, when you talk about social networking, it kind of does it for you as well, but it only helps me that much more. So
there was still connectors before there was Facebook, basically.
Yeah. And they used an interesting person. They were talking about Paul Revere when they were referring to the connector, how he was in so many auxiliaries during before the revolution, that he had a following, so to speak, and people depended on him and understood what he was about, because he had this innate way about him that drew people to him.
Wow.
And for that reason, I mean, not everybody has that capability to make anybody feel comfortable in different situations or bond with people with little to no exertion to themselves. And because he had that type of thing, when he was telling people and storming the countryside saying, you know, the French are coming,
The British.
the British are coming, that, you know, he had the power for people
It's like
to listen.
social influence, basically.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Do you think that the role of connector is less important today when you have things like Facebook and LinkedIn and you can Google, or you think it's more important?
I mean, it's the irony of technology. It definitely makes it easier in a way to reach out to people across the world. I mean, we're not Britain really anymore. We're not New York or America. We're not Canada. We're more global than we have ever been before because of social networks. But we also have to know that the irony in that is that sometimes it doesn't slow us down, and sometimes we need things to keep us. What's the word? You lose the intimacy of knowing people really one-on-one versus by a computer, by things you can accumulate fast. And my mother raised me, only child in Detroit. One of the things she always said, you know, you have to understand that a lot of things do take patience. If you get it right away, you take it for granted. So I think people can very easily take each other for granted in the same way.
It's like on Facebook when it's like someone becomes your friend. They're not really your friend.
They're not really your friend.
They
just have them on there. Yeah. I mean, I'm one of those guys. Almost 5,000 people on one of them, and I try to reach out to just one and send a light message. Hey, come out to an event, or hello, how is your day, or what are you about? I saw you had an interesting quote from your what you're all about and your info, and you get no response.
Yeah, it's not always the
happens.
case though. Sometimes, I mean, I'm sure, I don't know about you, but I've formed some friendships like over the internet through Facebook and stuff like that.
You have, right?
Yeah, have you done the
Yeah,
same?
I have too, I must
too.
say. I mean, it's always backed up with in-person type of stuff, you know? I mean, and it's a decision that Nick and I made in the beginning. We weren't going to do any Skype conversations because, you know, you got to be in the room, you got to be feeling people and looking at them in the eye.
That's why I'm not on a beach in Thailand for Christmas. Thanks, Brian.
Sorry about that, dude. But you know, I think the human mind, like going back to like the caveman days, is that you can only really fit about 150 people in your brain that you can actually know their look and enough to restart a conversation with.
It's like the limit of the tribal.
Yeah, it's like that's as big as your clan could kind of get before you wouldn't know them. And so this whole thing with Facebook, like you got 5,000 friends or you have over 1,000, and it's just like. Yeah,
but I mean, it's like such a pointless. It's a meaningless figure.
I mean, it's great. I mean, things like that. We all know that Facebook's origins were to introduce or make networking fun for college and high school students, so to speak, more college, I guess, than anything else. And it kind of exploded from there because it was such a fun concept for everybody to feel involved without taking away that personal side. They wanted to kind of take it away. So it made it like a little bit more intriguing, not being for a person. You could be anybody you wanted to be. You see on a lot of people that have it's not their picture on Facebook. You know, you look on their profile, you're like, wow, she's smoking, or and
then you're like severely disappointed.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, can we? I'm interested because. I guess our listeners don't know what you do, and I think it's quite pertinent to our conversation. It's my understanding that you're a nightclub promoter in New York City. Is that correct?
Well, that's one of my many facets. Foremost, I'm more of a hospitality concierge, so to speak. I do events, and I plan kind of different events, but I have promotions as pretty much my face-to-face card, as my calling card for people, because obviously everybody meets everybody in some type of way, shape, or form, in a lounge, in a bar, in a club, in a restaurant. It is the social media without the media side of it, which helps quite a bit because I'm a personal person.
Are you that dude who goes to the front of the line at every single party with like 2 chicks on his arm?
Yeah. Sometimes it's so funny because I invite so many beautiful women to the parties. Usually, when I actually go out, I usually roll my boys. I don't. Okay. Yeah, I'm not that person that likes that side of just having women around me all the time. In that. And it's kind of strange to say. At this point, it's made me a little bit of a different person to just see people what some people would say not a truer light, but I would say in a truer light, because my business partner Nico, he's Italian, and he always says in vino veritas.
In wine there's truth.
In wine there's truth.
Oh.
And when you think about it, even if the person is very pretentious, by the time you get them to a point of inebriation, they really are. You either decide whether you can deal with them or you can't. And some people you don't want to know that side of, but it's so hard to get the truth out of people sometimes. Everybody is putting on a mask, whether they're on Facebook or whether they're right in front of you.
Man, everyone's putting on a mask all the time, everywhere.
We all have masks. We all have different outlooks of life, and
man, we're all wearing one right now.
Yeah,
I mean, it's impossible to I don't know if it's at all possible to reveal the true you to anyone.
I think we have different masks for different people as well. Like when you're around family, you put something on. When you're around a new chick, you put something on. And when you're around your boys, maybe you take it off, but I guess you always have something on.
Right.
And I mean, and you must. I guess you see this, right? You live, breathe, and eat it. What's the thing you love about your job, and what's the thing you hate about your job?
That is the question.
Bro, you must get laid like a rock star. I can just see it, man.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It is.
Okay.
I've changed so much as a person. I actually got into the side of business as a model. I was traveling internationally doing that, and because I have such a way with people and a great intuition of people as well.
Would you say it's mostly intuition, or did you have to learn any of this?
No, it's a lot of intuition. I always I'm a spiritual person, born and raised Baptist Christian, and I remember always having a prayer for wisdom and patience and strength and guidance and all these things. And it helps me to keep my mind situated in situations where I'm always out and about like that, because it can consume you. But to go back to your question, I guess the best thing about my job is just meeting so many great individuals. I mean, regardless if they're a little nutty or a little crazy, I'm one of those people that kind of take the bitter with the sweet. So getting to know people in that way, if I feel like they're genuine in their intent, whether they're a little bit obnoxious or very sweet, I could take it in, evaluate it in a way that works for me, and then kind of make them either feel more comfortable or at least make them at least at ease a bit. And it keeps people coming back out, obviously, but it's just the nature of how I am. I don't try to overthink how people are going to be or where they're going to go or what they should do. I don't dictate to people. I just try to help them in a lighter way to have a great experience when they're out with me. So so that's the plus. And then the negative is that it does get a little lonely sometimes because people do take you for granted. I mean, I think in probably every business you have it, but it's very relevant to this thing is very relevant to how I am with people. I get them in the free. I get them free liquor. I get them. I introduce them, girls to guys, guys to guys, girls to girls, to make whatever relationship at the end of the night that they so choose. And either when I need them to come out, or if it's something special going on, and I need the numbers to come out, maybe they're not around, or once I show them these people and they get their own little clique from if they move from somewhere else, they pretty much forget who I am. They don't keep in contact. I might bump into the random.
People are so fickle.
Because in any service, I mean, you train a lot of guys, and you must have good relationship with some, and some you just feel like it's just a job. To some extent.
Yeah, but it's even like above. They're not even like my clients, just friends. I just see, man, it's been on my mind a lot lately. We spoke about it earlier, like these two friends of mine. It's just, the one dude's got a girlfriend now, and that's it. That's the end of it. We haven't spoken to him for like 5 weeks now or something like that. That's just the end of it. Yeah. And then you start to think like, man, I wonder what would happen if I really needed the cat. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I hear where you're coming from with that, Arthur. Yeah,
it's interesting that your business is being social, and so that's hard because it's being social is how we communicate as humans, but for you it's a job. So I can see how that kind of can mess with your head a little bit.
It is. It doesn't lend itself to more than just what it is in the club, and also it goes even further than that, because people that usually have hard times identifying with who they are as a person and what they look in the mirror when they wake up and look in the mirror. It echoes out when they go out to wherever they go, whatever their social habits are, and especially a club. Obviously, my job is in their eyes is less than their job, because they do it in a more traditional type way, a 9 to 5 or et cetera, with how they live their life, and they feel like, well, my life is fake or not real or less genuine in content than theirs.
Interesting.
And
so
it's
you got
funny.
lawyers and bankers and stuff who kind of are cool with you, but at the end of the day, they're thinking,
Well,
is this guy going to get a real job?
Obviously, at the same time, again, you have to be pretty understanding of the person you are. I think that if you are a person that's realistic to yourself about how you are in life, because obviously these people put themselves on pedestals anyway. There's no way.
What do you mean, like the bankers and the lawyers and the socialites?
Yeah. I mean, anywhere. I mean, I think it's everywhere. You always have a certain type of people that can put themselves higher than as a person, to boost themselves, and it's usually the reverse. The higher you put yourself, usually is the reverse. It's usually philosophically the person is down, depressed.
A really smart guy once said to me, "A rich man doesn't have to say he's rich."
Yeah, but most of them do. They repeat it.
Well, dude, you're in Manhattan. I mean, I lived in Manhattan for almost 4 years, and it's a pretty intense place. And I'll be very honest, I couldn't live there now.
I didn't dig it, bro.
I just couldn't. I know you didn't, which is interesting. But I mean, I went there for a wedding about 2 years ago, and I stayed in a hotel in Soho, and I got up the next morning to go train, and I went into this gym. It was Crunch or something in Soho, and man, it was like 100 alpha people in there. The girls were just cranking it out. They were just like crazy bodies. The dudes were all like in sick shape. And I was like, man, these people are bringing their whole game to a really high level, something that I really don't see in London even very often. And so, I mean, and you're promoting at some of the top clubs in Manhattan, so you must see that kind of like...
that it's a weird phenomenon that started happening about a little over 6 years ago. The concept of brunch parties.
Yeah, I saw that on your Facebook, and I was like, "What's a brunch party?"
Yeah. It's kind of an Italian or French concept, because people can come out a little bit earlier, not just to eat, but to have like a soiree in the daytime, and it turns into this massive push of guys spending over the top amounts of money, buying Magna bottles of champagne during the day, girls and dancing on top of the tables
on a Sunday
chairs,
afternoon.
on a Saturday and a Sunday. Usually it's like a weekend thing.
Okay.
There's a couple of parties that have really built a lot of money from that. I mean, the some of the best ones. It's only like two or three ones that have been really branded. That's really, really crazy that way. They probably make between, I don't know, 50 to 100 grand between the hours of 2 to 8.
That's crazy.
I mean, if you can imagine people getting that wasted that early, and obviously you don't really have time to eat. I mean, you can make reservation to eat and you can sit down. But if you get there like an hour into it, it's already pandemonium. And what do? You can't just sit there and the music just blasting in your ears, and you're just like, okay, I might as well get up and dance. Let me have a glass of champagne too, or a mimosa or whatever they have a special on at the time. So yeah, so that's like a huge phenomenon that's going on, and but people just in New York is very just. It's very weird just living the lifestyle of being a New Yorker, especially from the perspective of doing promotions and things of that nature. But yeah,
what's that line in that song? Live in Northern California once, but leave before it makes you soft, and live in New York City once, but leave before it makes you hard.
Yeah,
yeah.
It has made me. I guess it has made me. Harder person, but I think from all the things that I've learned of living in New York, it's made me a lot. I would say stronger than exactly not so hard. It hasn't hardened my heart. I haven't let it get to that point. Again, like I said, a lot of prayer for me, which guides me a lot, and meditation and things like that, kind of keep me. More civil than most, but I've seen people, conform to the dark side.
How do you deal with, or what is your opinion on? I mean, you're from Detroit, right? It's my understanding that's one of the most impoverished cities in the United States. How do you reconcile this huge amount of excess that you see at these lavish parties in New York City with the fact that there's people where you came from living in ghettos and who have next to nothing? How do you deal with that?
Well, that's a huge misconception. A lot of people have a concept of places like Detroit and big city. I mean, all of us went through the same recession. In fact, Detroit, before this recession, had literally one of the top 5 strongest social and economies for our area. It's because, I mean, of course, the automotive industry, great corporations like CompuWare come in, and there's a lot of lawyers, a lot of doctor based in the suburbs of Detroit, which kind of make up Detroit as well. Oakland County, things like that. You can kind of look up historically and of course you do have your hoods, but I mean also in London as well as New York. And what the interesting part is, you do have a poor side from everything that's been going on, but Detroiters are so resilient. We've had a lot of turmoil in our history. A couple of riots.
It's like in the 60s or the 50s.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was pretty bad. I mean, but LA's had its riots. Europe is much older
London.
than Europe is so much older than America. So you guys in your past have had ups and downs of riots wherever it is, and that's the way I kind of look at it. I think that everybody in some way, shape, or form have to go through their metamorphosis, whether it's the person itself or the land. We all have to go through the parts, and it makes us wiser at the end of it. I had a better understanding living in Detroit, moving to New York. I don't know if I would have got the reverse. It gave me a lot of base. Being in Detroit, I tell people all the time that because I'm a very likable, laid back person because I'm from Detroit, rather than saying I'm from somewhere else in the Midwest or something like that. Mm-hmm. Just because my mind had been opened from all the great music that came out of there, and I find that music is one of the greatest things that could ever happen to us. Obviously, it's like religion. Mm-hmm. Music. People follow it without feeling judged or persecuted or pushed in the wrong way. I mean, it brings out a stronger sense of themselves, and the eclectic side of the music that I had available to me growing up, from everything from deep house to techno. I wasn't just listening to hip hop and R&B at that time. I'm more of a soul guy. Okay. If it goes to Stevie Wonder, to Hall and Oates, to I love them. Billy Joel. I mean, I listen to it all. People are usually pretty surprised that
I've never heard anyone talk about music that way.
Yeah, Marvin Gaye. I mean, it goes on Otis Redding. I mean, it goes on and on. You listen to these things and you just sit there, and it just it's so profound the way that some of these songs touch you. Mm-hmm. It makes you stop thinking about just yourself. You can't be selfish. You can be selfish in the way you take it in, but mm-hmm. The reaction to it when you turn around and you see a person next to you that likes the same music is so profound. It kind of wills you to change as a person versus just being in your own little world. Yeah.
That wow. When you're at a concert, like I remember my you said it makes you not feel selfish and you feel connected. One of the best experiences in that kind of aspect of my life I've ever had, I was at this rave once, and there was these couple of famous DJs playing, and this one track came on, and the whole crowd, like when the breakdown happened, the whole crowd started singing the chorus of the breakdown, and like it was that moment where it's just like, this is to me the complete opposite of war. Do you know what I mean? It's like literally on the other end of the spectrum. Right. So yeah, I get what you're saying.
War and peace, right? But now it should be called war and music.
Yeah,
right.
That's powerful. I think the music that affected me the most, which is really strange, but it was for me listening to Ice-T as some gangster rap. Okay, I'm a white boy from the suburbs, but like I was so angry as a kid. I think a lot of young men are angry, and I was just angry, and like listening to Ice-T vent his anger in the original Gangster, my favorite album in '91. I loved it so much because he was angry, and it allowed me to be angry and maybe get it out in a little bit of a way, which is it's just weird. But
the power of music, really.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess it was positive in the end, but really powerful.
Yeah.
For me, the anger venting was Rage Against the Machine.
That's right.
Too. Remember that one song was like, "Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me." And I was playing in my room one day, and my dad came past, and he's like, "What is this music?" He freaked out. That was funny.
Yeah. What's Kids there's another song. I forget who sings it. I'm not gonna take it anymore. I'm not gonna take.
Oh yeah, we're not gonna take it by
Who's that?
I can't remember who that was.
I don't know who that was.
It was cool.
Yeah, but it's supposed to bring that rise out of you, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's quite emotional. I mean, and it can bring you to war as well, right?
Yeah, I guess
it could. Yeah, if you listen. Right? I mean, Ice-T and what's another, Eazy-E and all these, the beginning of the West Coast gangster type of rap. I mean, there's a lot of oppression that Black Americans have held back so long, and the beginning of rap was a voice for not just the anger side, but the fun side, how we could sit back from our anger and kind of laugh about it at the same time. So you find this weird type of middle way, either you find the music was very light and happy, or fun going, met a girl around the way and hey, we had fun, or to shoot them, or what's the police, or so whatever, and you're going off at that type of way. So yeah.
Do you make music, or do you ever involved in that?
I grew up as a professional dancer.
Wow.
till about the age of 22 before I moved to New York.
What kind of dancer? I mean,
And I did choreography too. A lot of like what they call pop, hip hop sort of things. You know, things that you see. Rest in peace, Heavy D doing. You had the dancers behind them. Puff Daddy actually started out like that as well. As a dancer, you know, I believe it was between what's this? Can't think of his name. Big Daddy Kane or something like that, or I forget. But yeah, a lot of people to start off in that genre it was a way for them to kind of get in the mix and you could take it to another level, or you kind of just still do dance.
Interesting.
But I also later on started getting into mambo, salsa, merengue, bachata. You know, I love good Latin tunes as well. Mark Anthony's my favorite singer.
That's all I think.
Mark Anthony's my favorite singer on that side of things. You know, I listen to a lot of him, and so yeah, and the girls go crazy over it as well, right?
If there's one skill you want to have as a dude, I think is to dance. Yeah. So many guys don't, and all the girls want to dance, right?
Well, you either should have a nice voice, or you should be able to at least have a nice step to you.
What about if you don't have either of those things, but you've got huge guns?
Yeah. I think that's the median. I think that's the perfect median. You got it. That's it.
Brian's got it.
That's all I have.
That's all you got.
I took salsa lessons when I lived in Chicago, and I found it really interesting, but I couldn't get out there and dance.
Man,
it's complicated.
I've always thought salsa, like, I'm amazed by the way they move and everything, but I just find it so cheesy, bro.
Really?
That whole thing, dude. I like dancing, and I like when someone displays good rhythm. It's like, it's a really attractive and sexy quality. But salsa, I don't know, it's just not my thing, dude. No, not at all.
We should get you some professionals to
No,
watch.
I mean,
I don't know.
you know, it's somebody told me a long time ago, if you're a connoisseur and you tell somebody, say you like opera, for example, you go in and either you love it and it kind of just stays with you, or you go for social means, you know, but you know you don't identify with it. You kind of can find out, even if you're stumbling around and you're going through lessons until you get it. You'll know after the first couple of lessons where you can kind of get into it, but you actually have to get in it, you know, like for you guys, you know, is no win or lose if you don't get in the ring, right? So, you know, but it's very interesting how it can appeal to you. I think a friend of mine kind of invited me to a salsa party one time in Detroit, and then I met this guy named Carlos. I never forget this guy. This guy was the Mambo King, you know,
Seriously?
and military, ex-military. Well, I guess he was on call sometimes, but I think he was with the SEALs or such a likable person, just great smile, just energy, just boom, right there when you meet him, you know, and he was there to help you if you need it. He might not even know you from Adam, but you know he'd say, "Yeah, I can see you're a good guy. I'm gonna help you out."
That's cool.
And he was a photographer. He had a lot of different things going on, and he said, "Yeah, I'm gonna show you, you know, like this and that." Met him the first time I was out because it captivated me just seeing how this guy was just controlling this woman on the floor.
It's powerful.
Oh, you're just sitting there mesmerized. And, you know, he's like having his way with her, and you just, and obviously,
Why are you laughing? I can't tell why you're laughing.
You know, you're like, yeah, I want to be that beast. I want to like control a woman like that. I mean,
it's a primal thing because the guy has to lead. And I remember being in classes, and the woman is telling these females that were like working in the city, they're like, you can't lead. The guy has to lead. And they're like, fuck, I'm not used to this. And so it is quite primal that way.
Man, tell me, Arthur, so you seem like the guy who can do pretty much everything. Well, you can sing and dance and...
Well, I wish I could sing. I used to sing. That's choir, ex-choir. Now I'm terrible.
Church.
Get me in karaoke, which I love. No.
So I wanted to ask, is there anything you struggle with?
Interesting enough, the things that I struggle with are more situations in life that I have no control over, which I shouldn't. No person. Most of the things in life people think they're in control of.
They're not.
And they're not. We're not even in control of our own bodies. You see a hot girl walking down the street, you have an erection, you're like, what happened? You might can calm it down, but I mean, the case is there. You can't beat chemistry. Yeah, I hate that. Walking around with a boner, but
but it does affect you. I hate that. You see a hot girl down the street and you have to look and you're like,
wow,
yeah, it is out of your control, isn't it?
Turn away and think of cemeteries and dead people.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you think of a passing of pet or this and that, and emotion comes over you. And I mean, you listen to music like we're talking about, it brings on an emotion. It's so much that we're not control of, and
that's a good point.
And my understanding of me as a person, I try to. I'm this really deep thinker. I'm always thinking. I don't know. Somebody told me it's a Sagittarius thing. I don't know. I know a few Sagittarius guys. My birthday just passed, and I know that I really think too much about things that are not my power, and maybe in my own way, I'm just trying to figure it out like a jigsaw puzzle or something like that. But
it's about letting go, though, right? Like that's probably the most difficult thing in life to do, is just to let go and trust the universe and just say, look, I'm here right. For the ride. But it's fucking difficult to do that.
Very, very, very to accept. I think the acceptance of things is something that if humans could conquer that side of it, we would evolve to a next mental and spiritual cycle of our lives. I think it does hold us back that much, So it's a lot of things. For example, I've been in New York for quite a while now.
How long?
10 years.
Wow, that's a long time. 10
years. It happened like a blink of an eye because everything moves so fast there.
Mm-hmm. Does, right?
And I was just planning, okay, I'm going to do this model career and I'm going to give it 5-6 years. And at that point, by time my life went by from traveling and doing it up big, by time I came to a point where I made a clear decision that I didn't want to focus on just this anymore. I came to that crossroad. Okay, what's next? Books like The Tipping Point, The Culture Code, and all these other things. Because I'm essentially more, since I'm that public relations type guy, I think of things on how I can brand what I'm about in a conscious way, in a way that can be interesting enough where I can still kind of be around people in a way and everything like that. Promotions is semi-temporary. I wish I could have.
Where do you want to be in 5 years' time?
I think I want to be back in Europe. I had an amazing time. Italy was amazing. Sweden is always great. Germany was fun. Spain was fun. I'm going to see how much fun I'm having in London. I'll get back to you guys to be continued.
I wanted to ask you, what do you think? Because you're obviously from the States and you've been living here for a long time. What do you find are some of the biggest differences that you've noticed between USA and living here in Europe?
Yeah, I was about to ask you that same thing. Well, London and New York are just like night and day for me. I call London a suburb because compared to Manhattan, it's just so much more relaxed. It's so much more spread out. You don't get I don't feel the concentration of all the not the crazy people, but the really intense, top of the one percenters, I guess you could call them. I don't feel it as much in London, and maybe the English have this kind of self-deprecating thing, which, and I found professionally I had much more success in London than I ever did in New York, which is weird. But otherwise, I think I lived here too long to notice the differences. I don't know. What do you find?
Well, for New York,
from New York to Europe or those countries you just mentioned, or here?
No, I mean. I think, like I said, like I mentioned before, Europe is so much older. I mean, when you're talking about the difference of 3,000 or 2,000 or whatever, versus 300, of America's existence is so profound. You can't. you have obviously a lot of intelligence and wisdom, even in the idiocracy that happens, like everywhere. The same idiocracies happen. But I think you guys handle it in a different way. Like you said, you could be here and it's a lot more laid back. It reminds me of being in places that are calmer in America versus just another big city. New York is just that place. I mean, Tokyo is the same. I mean, you have these places that are just so busy and so overwhelming every minute of the day.
When I got off the subway for the first time at Times Square, that it was overwhelming.
Too much.
Yeah, it was too much. I was just like,
well, most native New Yorkers don't even walk through Times
Seriously?
Square. They try to avoid it. They try to walk around the
It's gotten too
surrounding
much. It's
of
like
it.
a theme park these days.
Yeah, I mean,
20
don't
years
get me wrong.
ago, that was like, prostitutes and drugs, right?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Well,
Times Square is,
Yeah, it's
Peep shows.
Flatiron and Hell's Kitchen. I mean, like when you think about all these places that are now club areas, even in fact, like Meatpacking District or Flatiron or whatever, Chelsea Heights or whatever, you find the evolution of those areas. I stay in Harlem.
Okay. You live there?
I live there.
Wow.
I've been there now for 3.5, 4 years about. And people, first thing they say is, wow, it's scary? Is it, I heard there's a lot of danger and everything like that. I think danger is one of those things, like a lot of words that we use sometimes that are just pretty relevant. You can't say, one place is more dangerous than another. New York is right now one of the safest places to live in the world.
and you attract that shit to yourself as well by how you like. I mean, it's your demeanor. If you're walking around like, oh my God, people are going to attack me, then people are going to attack you, man. If you're just like...
It's a lot of that.
If you're scared or if you're not scared, I mean, if somebody decides they're going to attack you, I think the best thing to do in anything, and that's even if you're traveling and you don't know a place, is just be secure in the fact that you have your wits about you. Common sense is the key. I don't walk around with my eyes blindfolded. I can't, you look around, you stay aware, but don't bring attention to yourself, I think. But for Harlem, I mean, it's so gentrified right now. Everything in New York has changed so much. I mean, you talk about 10 years ago, I was staying with a friend in Harlem to now. I mean, I walk around, it's every nationality is staying up there right now. It's always pretty African American and Spanish. And now you have Asian, you have white, you have, all types of Europeans, and and it's the price is starting to show with the areas too. I mean,
it's always the way.
You start. I remember you could get a flat three bedroom for maybe $1,000 to maybe upward to maybe $1,300 American or U.S. And now to get even a loft or a 1 bedroom, you're talking 14 and up, 13 and up. Depending on what part you sit in Harlem, from east to west. So everything is pretty relative when it comes to location and where you live and everything like that.
I was just curious about, I got to ask what male modeling was like, because I mean, Nick is extremely good looking, but you're right on that level.
It was interesting. I mean, modeling is modeling. I think people always perceive you by how...
Seems like a hard job.
They
really?
totally
Seems
size...
like a pretty easy job to me, man.
They size you up. People size you up by how you look. I think I think women have gone through it for so long, and I think when you're a male model, you're put in a woman's world.
Wow, explain that.
Yeah, it's weird, It's obviously it's quite gratifying because you get your ego massaged quite a bit. Obviously walking up to a girl and saying I'm a model, or you see yourself on a magazine cover or walking a runway and finish, and you'll have small bits of those glory moments that come into play. But then it's definitely a harder side. Sometimes in the very cold or extreme heat is, you have these castings and you're running around like crazy. And no matter what success you have in modeling as a man, you are going to go through always 80% rejection.
Okay. At any casting.
At any, I mean,
Yeah,
in your business overall the model career,
It's the same with
your
a woman,
career,
though, right?
Yeah. It's probably a little bit even higher for women, depending on though. Like, I mean, obviously you get every job if you're a super woman model.
Yeah.
We don't have super men models anymore. I mean,
No,
like,
that's strange you say, because you remind me of this dude called Tyson Beckford.
Yeah.
He's like he is.
Yeah.
Well, I guess does he still struggle for jobs and stuff as well, or?
No. He's the man. He's the man over in the States right now. It was right before 2000, right around the time I started. It was no more real male models. I mean, super
Like Marcus
models.
Schenkenberg
Exactly. And Mark Bergen and all these type of individuals that went on from there to do acting or things like that. Tyson, now he was in a TV show.
He was in Zoolander as well, right?
Yeah.
He was one of his boys, one of the entourage.
I think you know that scene where it was.
It was in the walk-off. It was the walk-off, and he was kind of like in one of the guys' corner.
Was he with Hansel or was he with
Hansel?
I think,
I love that photo.
Yeah, extremely ridiculously good looking.
That was such a great.
How accurate was that movie? Were you laughing?
Yeah, because it was great. I mean, obviously, it was a true exaggeration.
Okay.
It wasn't a lot of course, I mean, it's made to, and Ben Stiller is great. He can, make a, comedy about anything.
That scene where they're like spraying the petrol all over.
Oh, yeah.
And then the car blows up, Yeah, I actually went out for that part. I was going to be one of the guys, and it came down to me and the guy.
No shit.
Really?
Yeah,
that's cool.
that's a little unknown trivia about King
So you've
Arthur.
done some acting, or?
Yeah, and I wasn't interested in doing acting. I didn't want to be a cliche model turned actor. I never had those.
Yeah, dude, acting, that's a hard gig, bro. Modeling's a walk in the park compared to that.
I always think modeling's hard because you get there and they don't want to know about you, or they don't want to know your personality. They just want you to get up there and look pretty. And it just seems that after a while, you might want to be like, what about me? Or do you want to know me? Or is that just a misconception?
No, I mean, well, first of all, when you get into a casting, you have your book with you. Mm-hmm. And depending on and that's a small mindedness of most casting people or designers or whatever, so have you. If they don't see the exact thing that looks similar to what they kind of have on their sketchboard or whatever, mm-hmm. on as far as what they want for their ad or their commercial.
If they don't see that in your book.
If they don't see something that's similar enough to kind of say, okay, I can see him in that, usually you won't get the job.
Wow.
A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people think you have to have the best book or the best look or the nicest clothes or not the nicest clothes. I mean, people kind of dress according to sometimes the castings they go into so they can look more of the part. Mm. But if that director looks at it and it doesn't like click in their head, they don't have the broad vision of putting that person with it. Like, for example, my first campaign in Milan was I think it was the casting had an attendance of maybe 300 and so people. Mm-hmm. Wow. We didn't know exactly what they were looking for, and as the list of people dwindled, it was down to me and like 500 individuals, mm-hmm. but they were looking for 4 or 5 individuals, and I got the booking for this watch campaign for Bulgari watches and things mm-hmm. like this, or a subsidiary of, and when I saw the makeup of the type they wanted for the black guy,
yeah,
it was what's the actor's now name who used to be a model as well? Tyrese Gibson.
Oh yeah.
Who's a singer, model, ex-model, and
Dude,
actor. Fast and
you know
Furious.
a lot of male models.
Yeah, I do. Right. Intimately.
I don't know what to say.
You know,
about
he
that.
played in the Fast and the Furious,
Okay.
and all the fun ones, and really talented guy. But they had his picture, and they took a picture of me and kind of put it next to it, and so.
So that's pretty much what it comes down to. It's like, does this fit the bill of what I'm looking for? Like on a initial split-second judgment. If yes, cool. If no, no. And man, that must be difficult for your ego, dude. Like.
Terrible.
Yeah, that must be tough, bro.
First of all, it's not a business that builds up first, it doesn't build up your self-esteem. But if you didn't have self-esteem at all, then that's kind of it can turn dangerous for a person.
Really?
You know, because obviously, if you're 16 to 19 or 20 or whatever, and you have an identity struggle within.
That's
you
what
know,
you always
and then
hear
you
about
get
them.
turned down all the time, then obviously you're going to get taken into drugs and all types of revelry and stupidity. And
that's why you see those like gorgeous like 18 or 19-year-old models. They're always hooking up with these slimy 55-year-old photographers because their self-esteem is just so incredibly low. You know, yeah.
And it's easy. I mean, it's easy to take advantage of that in that type of way. These poor girls, and hey, don't get it wrong, guys too. You get advanced on by the guys as well. You know, I mean,
But do you get advanced on by the girls? That's the question.
Well, yeah. I think no, yeah.
Well, you get advanced
a
on
lot.
the guys. You mean the male models get advanced on by the guys?
Yeah, well, the casting directors or the bookers or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my friend brought it to my attention. But it is true. I mean, I think the business is pretty much made up of gay men and Jewish women.
Wow.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah, from the booking and casting perspective.
Okay. So you got to watch yourself.
Or I mean, I can't remember a guy saying he had a roofie put in by his booker, but I'm sure in every scenario,
at some point.
In places like New York and places that move really fast, I'm sure, you know, it happens quite a bit.
You should write
It
a
didn't
book.
happen to me. It didn't happen to me that much, thank God. But I have some crazy stories. Friends
you
have
gotta,
had.
You got to tell us one of those, man.
Wow. I mean, I remember my first booker, one of my first bookers, he definitely was in, I mean, all the bookers at my first agency were just over the top, and they would love to see they would call them the boys, and, you know, can you put on some little skivvies and go out in the court, the basketball court across the street and play basketball with each other, or, you know.
Okay, I've heard enough. You should write a book like Anthony Bourdain's Kitchen Confidential. You call it Modeling Confidential.
Yeah, Model Confidential.
Expose all that.
They expose it. But I mean, people in the business is normal. You know, it obviously is shocking to people who are not in that side of it. But I mean, it's interesting enough. But it's ample women. The women there are abundant.
What, because you're a model, or the female models because you're on the set with them?
No, just the women. I mean, I think women have so many different sides to them. They tell
We talk about this a lot.
They tell us one thing, and totally in their head they're thinking something totally opposite. And women want it as much as men do. Overall, there's
you get to see social dynamics on a regular basis being at these nightclubs, and I'm curious if you have any
it's the same. It was the
revelations.
same, but it's so funny. I mean, the modeling profession. When I went from modeling to doing promotions, it's like almost a brother to it, in a way, in a weird type of way, because I was always around women models. I was always around women that wanted to be around guy models. And cater to that, like those penny lanes, but not behind a rock and roller, you know, like,
Penny Lanes. I'm sorry. What does that mean?
Oh, like what was the name of the movie? The rock movie with the group. I can't think of the name of it.
I know which one you're talking about. It's about the Rolling Stone writer that followed the group around.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Almost Made It or Almost Famous.
Almost famous.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
You know,
my
you
brain
had
had gone.
yeah, exactly. So you have the Penny Lanes, the head of the Band-Aids they call themselves. You know, like
I was
the group of girls that were always going to be with her. They always tried to be with the entourage of the group and always tried to be the center of that. So you had those girls that always wanted to be around the models, and especially the more you did or they knew you did, the more they kind of group up and always be around at every model place. You know,
Pisses
trying
me
to.
off, dude. I wish it was like. Don't you wish
you
there was
did more
like
modeling?
a group of broken groupies or jiu-jitsu groupies or something like that, dude?
Or podcast groupies.
So podcast
Work on that. Dude,
any groupies out
I
there?
told
You know,
I suggested to flex more of your muscles.
Yeah, no.
I know you guys
can
can't
see
see the
just
arms
can't
on
see
this
it.
guy, but
It's monstrous.
it's great. Women, you start getting tuned right in. Like
I'll put some pictures up on our Facebook page.
There you go.
You know what?
You
I'll go
and I
full on
playing
flex.
basketball in Oscar.
Oh my gosh, with Arthur. You know, our hour is almost up, guys. But I just had a quick question because, like I said, you're out all the time and you see this crazy social dynamic environment out in Manhattan. And I was curious if you could tell the guys or the girls out there the one thing you see guys doing wrong and the one thing you see guys doing right when it comes to interacting with women on a social basis.
Women go out to have a good time. I think you have always three types of individuals depending on their social situation. You have the women that go out and they're going out just to get laid. Just like men. They have the same agenda, even if they don't let on to it right away.
Okay.
Some let you know sooner than later, and some let you know later than sooner. You also have the girls that go out in groups with each other that want just to have fun with their girls, and it could be a nice,
Bonus.
Yeah, bonus if they did meet somebody, but they're not gonna come home with you, or they're not, they might change numbers with you because they're not gonna leave their girls. They're there to hang out with them. And then you have the antagonist that I call, the woman that comes out just to tease you, to start animosity in a way, just to give you a rise.
Those are the ones I always meet, by the way.
And then leave right when you all heat it up.
Yeah.
Is that a large percentage of girls?
That's a large percentage of girls, and guys.
I hate that.
So guys you have to know that you can't. You have to take it as light as possible and just kind of see the signs. Some of the signs of that type of girl is someone who's either aggressive and then kind of pulls back, and then aggressive and kind of pulls back. Like,
yeah, but don't you find that those ones, they're usually like, if you find a chink in their armor, it's like it's the easiest to bring it all down.
well, there's no chink in their armor unless they want to be in their armor. Women are very hard to size up. Period. Their psyche is so much more complicated than men's.
But I think it's so much more simple.
And they have so many walls. I think it's just so many barriers to the woman's psyche. And when you have, of course, liquor helps drop a lot of that. But don't be fooled. I mean, like, women can drink too, and they may let on. They may look a little bit weaker at times, and you feel like you can pounce.
Yeah, but they are devious.
But they have a second, and they just already know before you already come up to them. They already have a second, third, fourth notion on how to get out of that situation.
Okay.
Yeah,
they have an agenda.
They have
a layered agenda.
And I mean, we're very basic in that way. Obviously, we have just the agenda to meet a nice girl, whether we just want to just have a good time that night or whether we want something even more, depending on the type of girl we meet and if we connect with them in that way. But guys are not the bad ones. You know, women kind of, and women have that power to bring the bad out of you as well. You know, like
it's a theme, bro.
We're gonna get a reputation as the misogynistic podcast. So I
it's
just want to put a disclaimer out there. We love women. We're gonna have
we
women
love
on the show.
we love you guys. You guys are the best. Is totally
We have the problems. Dude, I hate to wrap this up because this is so much goddamn fun. But is there anything like you want to promote while you're in town, or a Twitter or a Facebook page or anything?
Well, you know, I tell people I have a Twitter, but I'm not great at what I call spontaneous rhetoric.
Okay.
I can't just tell you the color of my underwear, how I brush my teeth, or anything like that. But King Arthur's Passport is my company. If you're ever in New York, you're more than welcome. My Facebook, you can add yourself on my Facebook. I'm on Twitter as well, Kingsborn 1, and find out what parties are going on, things of that nature. I help out everybody. I mean, I speak some Italian, Swedish. You know, I have a large international following, so and we do really great parties, really fun. So yeah, please come out. I'll help you out.
We'll come check
and
it out.
I know. Just go to New York. Just
give
to
you
do
advice
this.
in restaurants and shopping and all that type of stuff. That's my forte. So
And also how to find the chicks in category number 1.
Yeah, I've never met that
Watch
category.
out. I mean, I know a lot of them, and it helps me a lot. Also, just to direct guys, I invite guys to my party too, not just beautiful women, because girls sometimes, they want to be around lots of guys.
Okay.
They come out there just for that thing. So I introduce people all the time. I just make it easier for guys to meet women and women to meet guys along the same profession, or if girls like the opposite or guys like the opposite. I kind of already know that. So yeah, I'm the real master of ceremony for my events.
Nice, man.
Man, what a pleasure to meet you, Arthur, bro.
Yeah, that was really good, man. Really good.
Thank you.
Well, all right. Well, thanks for listening, and
it's about the journey.
A big shout out also to Falling Whistles charity that I work a lot with, that takes war-stricken children in the Congo and rehabilitates them from all the drugs, and that makes them numb to do the atrocities that's going on in their society.
Falling Whistles, huh?
Yeah, and then they
website?
they rehabilitate them, educate them, and hopes to embark and keep a philanthropic change in the environment. So it's
we'll put that up, man.
yeah, Falling Whistles, fallingwhistles.org or .com. Okay, cool.
Fallingwhistles.com.
Until,
Sure.
until the next time,
DJ Stimulus, who we got a great party with last night, and yeah, thank you guys for having me on.
Dude, man, that was awesome. Really good stuff.
Your mom, right?
And my mother, she was all the little people, all the big people. The antagonist is the protagonist.
It's about the journey, guys.
It is, man. Thanks a lot for coming.
Thanks, man.
All right, peace.